Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
It is Tuesday, and all of our guests today brought to you by Pastime Sports and Games. More on the folks at Pastime in about half an hour or so. Canucks and Winnipeg Jets, the number one team of the National Hockey League tonight. Rogers Arena joining us now to talk about the National Hockey League. TSN Scouting Director Craig Button. Craig, thanks for doing this, sir. How are you?
I am great. How are you guys? Did you have enough St. Paddy's Day revelry?
Well, if you've seen the show in the last hour or so, Craig, you'd think we did, at least on Rick's part.
Yeah.
Lots of fun. How about yourself?
Okay, yeah. Yeah, not as much as I would normally have. It was a Monday, and maybe that had a little bit to do with it. But no, it's always fun to see everybody take part.
Yeah, this is a tough segue. We're going to go to from St. Patrick's Day to Canucks defenseman Victor Mancini. And I don't think he's playing tonight, Rick.
He's out.
He's out. But, Craig, a lot of people have been really impressed by him in this market after he was acquired from the New York Rangers in the J.T. Miller trade. What's your opinion of Victor Mancini?
But I would use one word: promise, and I think that's what people are seeing. They're seeing this player that's got the ability to be effective with his size. He makes good outlet passes. He has a sense of calm about him, and he's competitive. So I think you put all that together, and I like to use the term, just pull the strings tighter. Like you just got to pull the strings tighter to get it all to work well together. But I think having watched him in college hockey, you saw the progression in the NCAA, and then you saw him take steps playing in the minor leagues. And certainly I think he's a player that understands what he is, what he's capable of doing, and then is willing to go out and play to that. I mean, we hear coaches that play to your identity. I think that Victor has a really good sense of who he is and playing to that identity. And I think that a right shot defenseman that can do what he does, playing your bottom pair, if he gets up the lineup, well, that would be a real bonus. But I think all in all, it's the addition was positive, and I think what you're seeing is really promising.
As mentioned, Canucks hosting Winnipeg tonight. Jets first overall. Such impressive numbers all the way around, especially when it comes to the defense and Connor Hellebuyck. But any reason to think, and I know there hasn't been a lot of playoff success recently for them, but any reason to think that they won't contend for the Stanley Cup, Craig?
I don't have any reason to think that, Donnie. I think that they're a well-balanced team. I think they made a couple of really good, strong additions, while maybe not as sexy as other teams. Luke Shen is a really good, strong player that can play in different parts of your lineup. I talked about this, and I asked the question and answered it at the same time. What do Trevor Daley, Michael Kempney, Luke Shen, and Josh Manson all have in common? Well, they were all additions to teams that went on and won the Stanley Cup, and really additions that solidify your blue line, fortify your blue line, give you a different type of look in your blue line. And I think that all in all becomes really important. Tanev becomes a player that's disruptive. He's a catalyst. Penalty killing is important in the playoffs. So I think that, where they go, they have a great third line. They have a great top line. The bottom line is really effective. And that second line, everybody's looking to try to be as strong as possible. But I think that second line has proven and shown that they can be really effective. The thing for Vancouver with that second line is they got backing. They got the front with the top line, they got the backing with the third line, and the depth with the fourth line. So if Scott Arniel feels that they're able to play their game, he can use them more. If he feels that maybe we can't play them as much, he's got that backing. And we're talking about depth. And I think the Winnipeg Jets have depth in abundance and are legitimate Stanley Cup contenders.
Hey, Craig, the Canucks are one of the lowest scoring teams in the NHL, and Brock Boeser has gone 12 games without a goal. In fact, he's got 2 in his last 17 since Miller left. He's missing Miller, and the Canucks don't have a second-line center. I mean, his struggles down the stretch, he's got to start scoring or this team's not going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, we just talked about Victor Mancini. Know what you are, know what your identity is, and then play to it. And And Brock is a goal scorer. And when your team is struggling to score goals, you got to find ways to score goals. You got to find ways to be dangerous. And I think more than anything, Rick, right now, Brock, like he's not getting his looks. And one of the things that I've seen from Brock over the years is that he doesn't need high volume to be able to score. But to me, he's not getting those dangerous opportunities as much, and I think that's why his goal scoring has been what it is over the last number of games, and it affects the team in a significant way. Heedle's out, and now the pressure. And Elias Pettersson has really picked up a game here over the last stretch, which is really encouraging for the Vancouver Canucks. But now you have Heedle out. Now you need scoring in different ways. You need it to come from different areas of your lineup. And Brock Boeser is somebody they're counting on to score. So to me, he's got to find a way to be more dangerous. And it's not going to be any easier in a game versus an excellent defensive team in Winnipeg. But I look at process first, Rick, and his process has to get better. If his process gets better, his goal scoring will start to show up.
Craig, we saw Chicago here Saturday. Boy, that's a bad hockey club, and Connor Bedard doesn't look very happy these days. Back-to-back games where he had 10-minute misconducts. What's going on there in Chicago, and how do you keep this kid happy going forward? And, it could be a big issue, not in the too far distant future for the Hawks.
Well, yeah, I think it's already an issue.
Yeah.
Let me just say something, too. I'm surprised Jason Dickinson didn't have a hearing with the Department of Player Safety.
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought that was an egregious hit from behind on Heedle. I thought it warranted supplemental discipline. I thought it was a 2-game suspension when I saw it. I was shocked when I didn't hear the Department of Player Safety went into that. Anyway, I'll leave that alone. When it comes to Connor Bedard, the Chicago Blackhawks are awful. He's eligible to sign a contract extension this coming summer, beginning July 1st. If I was the agent, I wouldn't be signing Connor Bedard to any extension because he doesn't get any benefit by signing the extension in the coming season because you're going to make the same money, and he'll get the same money on July 1st the next year, as well as open himself up to potential offer sheets. And for me, Connor Bedard needs evidence from the Chicago Blackhawks that my signature on a long-term contract is worthy of me staying here. Because right now, there is nothing in Chicago that would make anybody think that staying there long-term is beneficial. That's how I feel about the whole thing.
Wow.
This is on the Chicago Blackhawks to get it better. Salary cap going up, and keep in mind the CBA, doesn't expire until September 15th of 2026. So, unless they agree to a new one, the offer sheet parameters will still be in place. And I think Chicago has to be really concerned. I know Newport Sports does a great job with advice. I'm just saying what I would do. I would not sign Connor Bedard this summer to any type of a long-term contract. I would wait till July 1st of 2026.
Yeah, wow. You're so right on Dickinson, Craig. And I'm not just saying that because, I'm here in Vancouver, but the Canucks themselves talked about revenge the next time they meet next season. This could get really, really ugly. The league didn't take matters into its own hands, and it could blow up. Ottawa Senators, Craig. Rick's best friend in this great sport of hockey is Travis Green. I'm wondering if he is an Adams candidate. But what do you like about the way they're playing? 5 straight wins for them in a playoff spot as we speak.
Yeah, I'm a big Travis fan, too. I really am. I think Travis, being named the coach there was really good for the Ottawa Senators. I think for that young group, Travis is not afraid to push. He's not afraid to push you into areas that might feel a little bit uncomfortable. But once you get in there and understand that leads to success, you do get comfortable. And I think that he's gone in there and done an excellent job. Absolutely should be in the Adams trophy conversation for best coach in the league. He's done a fantastic job. I think a couple of things when it comes to that, they're going to make the playoffs. I think they've got themselves into that spot now. But I love what Steve Staios did. I love what Steve Staios did on trade deadline. He said the status quo does not work. I am not staying with the status quo. I'm not hoping. On trade deadline day, I felt that they had to do something bold. Jennifer Hedger asked me, she goes, well, what would that look like? I said, I'm not really sure. Because I didn't really say, well, they need help here, they need here, but they needed something bold that would rattle, that would kind of rattle the cage a little bit. And that's exactly what Steve Stais did. Josh Norris is a good player. He's Brady Tkachuk's dear friend. And he served notice to that team. I'm not staying with the status quo. Dylan Cousins, much like Connor Bedard, you play in Buffalo, how can your spirits be high? 14 years out of the playoffs. I mean, it's just awful. You know you don't have a chance. That's where Connor Bedard finds himself. Dylan Cousins is rejuvenated going to a team that's exciting to play for. You know you have a chance to win. And I think that Brady Tkachuk, as disappointed as he was about Josh Norris, he showed what a leader's all about. And Mark Messier mentioned it on the ESPN broadcast the Saturday they beat the Rangers. He said, you lose a good friend, he goes, you owe it to the players wearing the same jersey as you to go out there and help that team win. He said Brady Tkachuk has demonstrated that. And I think that Steve Stais removing that little bit of complacency has really served real positive things for the Ottawa Senators.
Yeah, in Ottawa, a big game in Montreal tonight. Big game for both teams. Craig, thanks so much for this. Appreciate it. We'll talk to you next week.
Yeah, thanks, you guys.
You bet.